Greg Ambrosius, what's a better thing to do, day drinking or day drafting, you think?
I think day drinking, definitely. Even though I'm in the business of selling leagues, day drinking really appeals to me, and nothing better than a noon kickoff at Lambeau Field and doing it in the morning as well. So
yeah, no, I like the idea of these matinee drafts, and I know that we go on the radio and we talk about drafting. I go, anyone that's listening to the damn radio in the middle of the day or in a podcast in the day, they're probably want to draft too. And I have two degenerate drafters with me right here. We'll start off with Eric Vanek, South Harmon Fantasy Football. Hello, Eric.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yep. This is your first NFFC RotoWire Online Championship of the season?
Yes, it is. Yep.
That's cool. And do you know the rules? Or actually, let's screw Eric. We're not going to tell him the rules. We need a donkey in this league.
I'm smart. I looked at the rules. I'm good.
All right. Don't tell him about third round reversal.
That's right. Why did third round reversal start? Is it true that it was because of LaDainian Tomlinson, Greg?
Without a doubt, 100%. Yes.
Right.
In basketball, when Jordan was the number one, there was talk we should do third round reversal. And so we were going to do it in basketball. But then when LaDainian Tomlinson just dominated 2 years in a row, and at that time, you have to remember, we had 14-team leagues. We did not have 12-team leagues. And so the people who got the 13th and 14th pick, even before the draft, they'd call me up and they go, "You bastard, you screwed me. I can't win now." I was like, "Huh? What? The draft hasn't even started." But LaDainian Tomlinson was so dominant. And the last thing Team 1 needed was the first pick in third round, right? And so through the years since we've done this, since 2006, I believe it is, the number of league champions is just equally distributed over all 12 spots.
Right. The data shows it doesn't really matter what pick you have. Stopa, you're picking fifth today, right? So
correct.
Yeah. Why did you want that pick? I mean, you don't have to name the players, but what was it about the fifth pick that you think is the best one in the Kentucky Derby style of the NFFC?
That guaranteed me, without naming the players, guaranteed me who I wanted in round 3. I thought there was a bit of a drop-off, or round 1, excuse me. I thought there was a bit of a drop-off after round 3. And in a format like this, I like generally being somewhere in the middle, because if a player falls a little bit, it kind of gives you more access to the entire player pool, picking in the middle of as opposed to picking on an end. When you're on an end, your kind of access to the player pool is just a little bit limited. So that was my preference.
All right.
I'll say one thing, if you don't mind me, Alan. The good players do look at round 3 where their KDS is. Some people go, "Oh, I want this guy. He's in the top 10 of mine. I'm going to get him." Good players look at who's available in round 3, and there is a drop off after maybe pick 30, if you will say, or 31, right? And so,
totally agree.
What you just said is part of what good players look at. The third round is very important.
Yeah, I looked at round 3 a couple of years ago, and I got Robert Woods, and I passed on Cooper Kupp. Was that a good move?
No. What are we doing? Letting you host this one.
Well, the name of this contest is Beat Alan Seslowsky. So, I mean, we are allowing people to beat me. And if you do beat me, now, again, there's league prizes. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds, guys, the draft. I have the first overall pick. Mark Stopa's got the 5th, and Eric Vanek on the bottom there has the 3rd pick. Is that there's a league prize here for the top 2 scorers, and we can get into the specifics of that on the post draft, but also that's who makes it into the playoffs. And then, of course, anyone who beats me gets a free RotoWire subscription worth way more than the $250K of the overall prize, right, Greg?
Not quite. Peter probably thinks so, because when he's laying out the money, that's a lot for Peter Shanky, that's for sure. So,
that's true. All right, guys, I am on the clock with the first overall pick, and there is no doubt in my mind. This was my 1-1 last year. I'm going to take Jamar Chase. He's my 1-1 again. We'll see who picked. But you guys agree that consensus here? Well, actually, I bet you one of you guys doesn't. Would you guys both have taken Chase at 1-1?
I would, yes. And you set this up to choose first overall, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the pick I wanted.
Yeah, I would take Chase first overall, but I don't feel strongly enough about that position that I prioritized picking first, if that makes sense. So nothing wrong with the pick. That's what I like to. He has the safest upside floor combination that I see on the board.
Okay. Eric, would you have taken Chase there too?
Yeah, I probably would go Chase as well. I mean,
Yep.
kind of echo the same stuff Mark said. I mean, he was so good last year. I don't see them slowing down. So
yeah, and just structurally, even though it picked 2 and 3, I like some of the running backs better than the receivers. I like starting an NFFC draft where you have to have 3 receivers plus a flex with a wide receiver. So it's not a surprise here, right, Greg? Bijan's kind of the chalk. Oh, Gibbs has been the chalk 103.
Yep.
but I probably would have taken a receiver there. But I certainly understand why Gibbs and Bijan go there. Greg, what's the biggest surprise? Has there been anyone besides Chase go at 101 in these drafts?
So very few. I think Bijan, we were talking about last night on our live stream. I think Bijan twice has gone first, but otherwise Chase is the number one. And the big thing on the number one is they're stacking Bengals. I mean, Chase Brown comes there, and then Burrow comes back if you want him in round 3 at 36. That's his ADP. So that seems to be a chalky stack almost,
Right.
I got to look up the data, but I thought somebody posted it was like 42% of teams had the Chase stack so far in the RotoWire online channel.
Right, the Chase, right, yeah. Chase Brown. But I guess, that's why I was thinking, like, even though he's not the number one overall player, I don't want to call out names, but there's, screw it, we call it names. We're doing this for content too. That's why I thought that CeeDee Lamb, even though he's not is that who you're going to take? Because Barkley just goes off the board. Are you going to take CeeDee Lamb or Jefferson there, Stopa?
This is why I wanted to pick 5th, because I wanted to get one of the two. Mm-hmm. I vacillated on this most of the morning, and I decided to go Jefferson from the standpoint of he's the best receiver of this generation, and I can't pass on him there. Even though there's a little bit of question at quarterback, that's the route I went, and that's why I chose to go 5, hoping that I would get one of those two guys, and I did.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier that Lamb is a defensible 101 because when you talk about stacking in an overall contest like the NFFC RotoWire Online Championship, the stacking is a little bit less expensive and easier to do. I mean, you have to really be ready for Burrow if you're going to take a Bengal, whereas, Dak, I mean, you could take him around ahead of ADP and no one's really going to care unless they have Lamb. No one's like reaching for Dak, right, Eric?
Yeah. I'll just jump in if you don't mind. Stacking is very popular in the NFFC, especially in this contest. We're going to have about 4,800 teams, right? And so when you get to the sprint, weeks 15, 16, 17, you need that difference maker. And stacking the quarterback and wide receiver has paid off, whether it was Alan Diggs or Chase Burrow. It just has proven to be done. Mahomes, Kelsey a couple of years ago. So our grand champion last year, Mark Cerebro had Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield. They went off in week 17. He won $250,000. So stacking is very popular. And this year, it's so much easier. You get Dak later. You can get Mahomes in the 7th round a lot of times.
Mahomes. Nobody wants that bum.
No, nobody wants him, but just watch him go off this year, just to prove everyone wrong. So stacking is much easier this year.
So we're seeing right after McCaffrey goes at 7, it seems like he either goes at 7 or like 15, right?
Yeah.
Like it's such a wide, like in the first round, that's a wide range. Now here, guys, this is what's interesting. Eric, you saw it. Neighbors goes BTJ, Amon-Ra, Devin Achane, right? Devon Achane, at pick 11. So Billy Wazowski, man. Oh, sorry, I let the cat out of the bag. Sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to out you on national podcasts everywhere. But seriously, is that the highest you've seen Achane go, guys? Eric, you've been monitoring ADP.
I've seen him go at like 9, so I don't think it's as it's bad or anything. I actually really like Achane, especially with Jonnu leaving there. I mean, they're just going to feed the 3 guys, Hill, Achane, and Waddles. That they're just going to give those guys the ball pretty much every play. So I like the pick.
Greg, I heard Evan Silva talk about on a podcast that he thought Devon Achane was a defensible 101. I was like, whoa, that is like a heavyweight talking about a player like that is pretty interesting.
Well, he's good, but in any fantasy draft, he's not going ahead of probably the other two running backs, Robinson and Gibbs. That's for sure. But they should be more wide open. I think Waddle, like Eric just said, he's a guy who a lot of people are looking at is going to have a much better year this year with John O. Smith not there. T.O. will target the 2 wide receivers over and over and over. Achane in the last 2 weeks in this contest has gone as high as 9th and as low as 20th. So there is that range there for sure.
Yeah, and that's also a draft structure thing. There's going to be 6 people in your draft, right, Stopa, that just will not take running backs in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, and I agreed with what you were saying earlier about I prefer my first pick to be a running back. I think it creates more flexibility when making choices in later rounds. I tend to like my setups and formats when I've got a receiver as my first pick. So that was all part of the strategy of why I wanted first overall and then took Jefferson. So we'll see how it plays out.
And in the NFFC, specifically the RotoWire Online Championship, I think, and again, you can always find, I mean, Puka Nacua happens, right? You get him on the waiver wire, but I just feel like it's easier, and Greg, you could probably verify this, that it's easier to find a running back that's good for 3 weeks than it is to find a receiver and have the chutzpah to play him, right, off of a big game if he's not a traditional like target monster.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years especially, there's been very little on the fab market. I mean, if you guys have been playing this game, it's been bare the last 2 years. So I think one of the strategies for guys, you're talking about getting that wide receiver first, a lot of people like to go hero running back, right? Like you get Saquon Barkley and then you bang out 3-4 wide receivers, and you can still find a good RB2 in round 6. So I'm interested to see what teams 2, 3, and 4 go, because hero running back has been a very popular strategy in our contest. Yeah,
I call zero. You mentioned hero running back. You hear about zero running back. I call it zero winning. Right? I mean, that's I mean, what was the guy's name that wrote the article that actually won? Was it the NFFC with the zero running back strategy like 15 years ago?
Yeah, it was Tyson Siegley. Yeah, Evan Siegley, Tyson Siegley, the brothers came here and they did that, and they dominated. I mean, I think they finished first and second that year in the prime time, and it's popular on another contest, and people really love to do it, but it's tough. It really is to go 4 wide receivers and then try and find 2 good running backs. But this year might be different, right? Because all these rookie running backs seem to be going in rounds 5, 6, and man, they could not all of them, but I mean, some of them are going in rounds 5 and 6, and if they hit, then you've got yourself 4 wide receivers that could get 20 points per game, and now you got 2 good running backs. But easier said than done.
Right. So, Eric, what Greg is saying, if you pick the right players, you win.
Simple as that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's like I love everybody with their strategies. And I think that's the most interesting part of fantasy football podcasting and broadcasting, Greg. And it's that, fine, we could all make the case for and against Jonathan Taylor, right? Yeah. Like, it's so easy to do, but it's like, how do you structure your draft? What do you think how are you going to allocate your fab? Are you going to go all in, use 70% of your budget when a guy pops in week 1 or week 2? Are you going to have the hammer in week 3? So I think that is the more interesting, because I mean, when you guys started this, what year did you guys start doing these drafts, Greg?
2004 is when we started with the 14-team format. We did the 12-team format, started in 2008. The RotoWire Online Championship was 2009.
All right, I'm pissed. Eric, can we throw Eric out of the draft? He just took Chase Brown. That's who I was targeting. I hate to say snipe so early, but damn it.
That was the stack right there. But you know what, Alan, before you make your pick, I'll just say live streams are the new content in the industry, because like you say, on podcasts, guys are there on there and they're going, if I had the first pick, I'd do this, this, and this. And you know what? This is the sleeper I would take. Well, put your money where your mouth is, right? And that's what you guys are doing right now. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's see what you do when it's 1 minute per pick and you're sweating right there because your guy just got sniped. So to me, the live stream is the new content in the fantasy football industry, and people are loving it.
So you don't mean so again, obviously we agree with you, but I was going to here, let me make my pick real quick here. Okay. I am toggling between running backs here. Oh man, there's a running back I like that won't come back to me, but just ADP wise, he's nowhere close here right now. Greg, I mean, am I a complete donkey if I take a guy like 10 picks ahead of ADP, knowing he won't come back to me? Or
get
is that
your guys?
Get your guy. Always get your guy. Yep.
Guys, I firmly believe that Breece Hall is going to be.
Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah, I firmly believe it. And there's no way he's coming back. So.
Well, now you're being like Dalton and being a homer.
Right. That's here in like a traditional draft, I pick, I take 2 running backs, but that's the other problem. Again, it's not a problem because I get chased, but in the 3rd round reversal, I have to really see what's going to come back here. And
right.
We'll see. Again, I thought about Kyron because, he's ahead of ADP, and Josh Jacobs is a banger, but man, Breece Hall, it's just like he picked 3 last year, Greg? Picked 5,
Absolutely.
something like that?
He burned so many guys, they're not picking them anymore. So that's why he was available for you. But no, his ADP in the last 2 weeks in his contest is 33. You got him at 24. Not a big deal. Get your guy. And I agree. He could be very, very good this year. There's Garrett Wilson. I mean, there's another guy, right? Like, I mean, he's got the hookup with his Ohio State quarterback. Mm-hmm. Is he going to have a big year? If Fields performs, this could be a really good offense.
Yeah, and that's with Breece Hall, it's kind of connected to Fields too. You remember, guys, Eric, you remember like when Alfred Morris and RG3, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, when you're next to that true running quarterback, it seems like the primary running back really just gets like these extra inflated stats.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy and Michael Vick when they were together, the same thing.
That's a good point. Stopa, you went Taylor right there. I see his ADP has been rising, but that's just like the boring pick that the pros make, right? Like nobody wants Taylor, but he ends up being like RB3 on the year.
I want Taylor. He's a monster. You know, if he just like you can say that for all of the good backs in the first 2 rounds, if he stays healthy, he can be the RB1 overall. We've seen Taylor do that before, so we just give him to me and hope he stays healthy. That's what you can say for most of the top backs.
Yeah, going back to Breece Hall for a second, obviously I care a little bit more because it's a pick that I'm going to look like an idiot or a genius on, right? Taking him ahead of there. And when I took him in the RotoWire Madison draft, I mean, like I got laughed out of the room, but I was like, he's not coming back and you like him. So it's a little early to go get your guy, but how many times have I just followed ADP? And I'm not taking take a guy 2 rounds ahead, but you, Greg, you know this better than anybody. Come like Labor Day weekend, ADP almost goes out the window in a sense in a lot of these drafts. People are just getting the guy who they just want to get and they know is not going to come back to them.
Well, absolutely. And, you think about the unique combinations. There may not be many in the RotoWire Online Championship right now, at least, who have Chase and Hall. And so what you do next, you could have that combination then in weeks 15 to 17. Let's say both of them go off. And 2% of the teams or 1% of the teams have that combination. There you are in the money. So I like it. I mean, too many teams from the one spot are going chalk, like I said. It's Chase Brown, Burrow, and they all have the same teams, and they're all going to have the same point totals in the championship round.
Right, and that's the same thing. Like when you talk about like the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if you pick all 1 seeds to make the Final Four, sure, you'll probably get there. But then you have to have those first 2 rounds like perfect. Like here, I'm right. If it doesn't make sense to go with a stack that's 30+%. So all right, I'm good with it. Maybe he's just being nice to me because I'm here, but no, your logic was sound. All right.
How much have you seen unique lineups among winning teams over the years, like lineups that are truly unlike any of the others in this format?
Has not been in the last several years, for sure. Again, those stacks that I mentioned, a lot of teams have them, but then their RB2 made the difference or whatever. And honestly, our championships are won by like 2.5 points, 1.5 points. So it's really that last guy on your roster or the 10th starter for that week 17 that made the difference, right? So I'm not saying you have to be very unique. You still need to have those combinations that score a lot of points in those last weeks. But the stacks are good. I mean, if you wanted to go Burrow here, I certainly wouldn't have any problem for sure because you got the hookup right there.
Yeah, exactly. I think Burrow's ADP is inflated by stacking, right?
He is absolutely 36, right?
Like I'm an anti-stacker. Like I'm not stacking here. So I do not, or maybe I am because I don't see how I could take Burrow over the player I think is going to score more points in Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? But man, this is a tough decision. All right, I'm going to do some. Man, this is rough. This is rough. Already I'm on tilt, guys. I'm already on tilt. All right. Sheesh. All right.
Unique combination.
No, Hampton fell a bit there. Just got taken the pick before you here. I've seen him go much earlier in some of these formats. I'll also note while you're thinking, Alan, that I felt like we just had a tier drop off there in the middle of this 3rd round, which is why I wanted to draft at 5th where I did, because I think once JSN got taken and then the top 2 quarterbacks, you really have a drop off on that at that point, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Mike Evans. I'm took Mike Evans and George Kittle here. I think everybody likes George Kittle this year, right? Like nobody, especially at the price when you talk about versus Bowers and McBride. So, I mean, it never feels good after when you're chasing like some of the other positions when you take a onesie. And I guess with the benefit of having like a Kittle. Or having like Jaden Daniels, like you took Eric, or Stopa, of course you took Josh Allen, is you don't feel the need to get that second guy. That's the benefit of it. So when we're taking our sleepers and our upside picks, you guys aren't going to feel the need to add Jared Goff or whoever it is. And then I'm certainly not going to feel like I need to dip into that like Jonnu Smith, Evan Ingram tier until the very end. I can add some. So that's the upside of taking those onesie guys. Mike Evans, though, I was going to say I took him while Eric's on the clock here. I just like that Chris Godwin is already, stalled out a little bit in early training camp, and then they have a rookie. So Mike Evans can always undervalued, right? And every year it seems like he's almost like a lock. And what's good about Evans is that he's one of those receivers, just like Devontae Adams, just like Terry McLaurin. Even if they have a couple bad weeks, you still always feel good about starting them. That there's never like, oh, I took some upside guy, and then that player has 2 bad weeks, and then you put them on your bench, and they go off on your bench.
Yeah, no, he's a difference maker for sure. I mean, both Eric and Mark, for Mark, you feel like you may have the number 1 wide receiver, you have the number 1 quarterback, and now you got 2 strong running backs. I mean, Eric, you're the same way. You may have the number 1 running back, you have a potential number 1 quarterback, and you got a wide receiver now who's really fallen a full round because of the holdout that he has. So, I bet both you guys feel pretty good right now.
Hold on. We need to stop the draft. Did you guys just see what happened in this draft? This is like crazy town. Only in a beat Alan Seslowsky RotoWire Online Championship. The guy that took Team 4 takes Lamar Jackson in the 3rd and then takes Burrow in the 4th. Come on, man.
Looks
all right.
like it was auto-picked.
Yeah, he might be.
So even if he was auto-picked, why do you have that? Why do you have Burrow in your queue?
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen. I mean, that's basically you're forfeiting a 4th round pick because you can only start one of those guys.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe he thinks it's super flex and he got a good value. Terry McLaurin. So Adams, Evans, and McLaurin are like the 3 old guys that seem to go in that one grouping right there. They probably should all be like late 2nd, early 3rd round picks, but the age is understandable. It drops them around, right? Rashee Rice. That's all I want to ask you about. We'll start with Stopa. I mean, is he even on your draft board here? I'm thinking like we'll start off. What do you think his projected suspension will be, and is he on your draft board in round 4?
He went about round 2 early, maybe a half round too early. He'd have been on my draft board if he had gotten to me at the next pick. I think he's looking at 3 or 4 games. Really good player, but it's tough to start out already behind the 8 ball when you know you're going to have injuries hit your lineup in the course of the year to other players as it is.
Eric, what do you think Rice's projected suspension?
I'd probably say him 3 or 4 games, but then I read yesterday that he might not even get suspended, so I don't even know what to believe. So I would assume he's going to get a suspension, though.
Greg, come on. Tell these guys how it's actually going to happen now.
Well, I think people are saying 4 games, and I would not be surprised if he gets 4 games.
Yeah.
The NFL likes to make an example of guys.
Well, I agree with you. I'm telling you guys, they want to stop this drag racing thing,
right.
And I think the hammer's coming down. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be 8 games. I feel good about that prediction.
Nice.
Negotiated down to 6. That's my prediction. And if it's 8 games, right? I mean, let's say let's just call it 6, right? That's not a 4th round pick.
No.
Right? I mean, I guess if you structure your team where you don't need him, but he's also coming off an injury, right? And so he was probably going to be a slow start anyway. So maybe a suspension probably, I don't want to say helps him, but it works out where that's part of his recovery, So I don't know. Rice is not on my board. I would take Worthy. I would take all these players that just went ahead of him, behind him. I'm sorry. But hey, I could be wrong. He was what?
Above Rice is an eminently reasonable take, especially if you think the suspension falls on the longer end.
Yep. Team 11 is doing that build, Greg, that traditional NFFC like build that you said with the anchor running back, the hero running back, and then just hammering painting it yellow, as they say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying is you get your anchor running back, you go 4 wide receivers, round 6 and 7, you might go back-to-back running backs, but he's in good shape. I mean, Calvin Ridley is a guy who's moving on up. We've been talking about him, watching him. I mean, he's moved up 10, 12 spots. And, by the time, like we said, we get to Las Vegas, there's no doubt he's going to be in the 4th round. So that's a good pick there for his 4th wide receiver flex spot.
Yeah. Ridley, for some reason, seems hard to trust. I understand the case. He's like the true alpha. He's always been good. And Cam Ward is the 101. But 101 for that player in fantasy football traditionally is not like great for fantasy, but I guess the feeling is right, Eric, that even if if Ward is okay, like the 19th or 21st best quarterback, they should still be able to feed like a single receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the rest of the weapons on the team. It's nobody, honestly. It's Calvin Ridley. If he doesn't get 130, 140 targets, then I don't know what the Titans are doing. So
right.
He should get force-fed 10-plus targets a game. And if Guy's going to get that, there's a couple other guys like that, like DK Metcalf. Steelers really don't have anybody else. I mean, they got Jonnu now, but, those guys should be getting 10-plus targets a game. Those are the kind of guys I want on my team.
Right.
Yeah, it's very hard. If you have that 9 target floor, 11 targets, per game type of thing, going in, like Greg said, in the 5th round is going to seem like a steal when by the time we get to Labor Day in Vegas for the tell everybody, by the way, how they could sign up for those drafts while we're in the 5th round of the RotoWire Online Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to playnffc.com or the National Fantasy Football Championship. So it's playnffc.com. Look for the RotoWire Online Championship. It's a $350 entry fee. We pay $1,500 to the league champion, $700 to the second place in the league. And then those 2 teams go into the championship rounds in weeks 15, 16, 17. Basically, get hot in those 3 weeks. First of all, make the dance. Get hot for 3 weeks. You could win $250,000 on a $350 entry. So, we've got other best ball contests. We've got the prime time, which is an $1,800 entry fee. I mean, we have entry fees from $25 to $20,000, and we fill that $20,000 league every year. So check us out at playnffc.com.
Cool. We'll be talking more about that. Eric, who the hell invited you to this draft? You're sniping me again. JMO is my target in round 5. Good pick there. My bold, like we do these bold prediction shows on podcasts and stuff. My bold prediction, and again, what is a bold prediction? It just means like something that has like a 15 or 20% chance to happen, right? It's plausible. 1 in 5 chance. I said that JMO will outproduce fantasy points wise Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mm-hmm. So again, not likely, but you could talk through that last pick, Eric, with JMO as I'm making my pick.
Produce with both healthy?
Yeah, both healthy. I mean, obviously, it's just, so it's, the big play. Go ahead, talk through it while I'm making my pick real quick.
Yeah, I know you mentioned Evan Silva earlier. I think he has JMO as his 14th wide receiver in his rankings. So I know he's really high on him too. I just think the Lions' schedule's a little harder this year. They're going to have to throw a little bit more. And I think JMO could have a lot of those blow-up type games. He's that type of player. So definitely want to take some swings at him.
What were you going to say there, Stope, as I'm making my next pick?
I was tossing that around in my head because I also noticed that Evan had JMO really high, and it surprises me from a standpoint of he's 3rd, maybe 4th, maybe even 4th in the pecking order. And last year the Lions had to throw a lot because their in the second half of the year, especially because their defense got shredded. Is that recipe going to repeat again? I thought that ranking was too high. I certainly preferred Jalen Waddle over him at the pick I just made. I like Waddle with the narrow passing tree in Miami more than the wider tree in Detroit.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle to me this year, Greg, I don't know if I feel, but it's literally the best value in my opinion in all of like the entire draft. Like he was going at the end of round 2 last year, and the situation got better, right? Like the target hog Jonnu is out. Everyone thinks Tyreek is basically now on the decline. Doesn't mean he's bad. So if all of that's true, and Mike McDaniel, the head coach, is truly on the hot seat, and we've already seen Jalen Waddle do it in 2 different ways, where he gets peppered with targets and also do some downfield. I think that Jalen Waddle's not a league winner, but it's going to be one of the better ADP beaters.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you had Jalen Waddle last year, you're not drafting him because he was so frustrating last year. And Tua was so frustrating last year. So, but I totally agree. I mean, Jalen Waddle was going at the end of round 5. His ADP was like 60, 61. Again, he's going to start moving up here too. I think he goes early 5th round, end of 4th round by the time we get to Las Vegas, because the Sharps are going to see that his upside is just huge. They don't have anybody else, really. I mean, Tyreek, I think, is going to be much better this year. Yeah. And Jalen Waddle is going to be much better this year. And I assume Tua is going to be a little bit better than he was last year. So I think there's a lot in that offense that fantasy owners are going to like. And Waddle right now at the end of the 5th round is a bargain.
I'm a little pissed again at myself, right? Because I was talking about go get your guy. And I had Travis Hunter all lined up. But I was like, I've already done a couple of these reachy picks. Then Team 7, who I can't reveal his identity, but his name rhymes with Alton El-On. right? It's not who you think it is. It rhymes with that. And of course, he's the one that goes and his team already, I'm a little jealous. He takes McCaffrey in round 1, fine. That's a polarizing pick. But after that, gets Jacobs in round 3. That's a round 2 guy, right? And then obviously we all just had that worthy discussion. Chuba is the typical dead zone running back, but it seems like he's got some upside this year. And then, of course, Travis Hunter. Let's go down the line here super quick in 10 seconds or less. Travis Hunter, right now in the 6th round, that feels like a fair price, but it's so easy to see him as a first-round pick next year. Mark, where are you standing on Hunter right now for 2025 redrafts?
Well, I haven't been in on him all that much because of my distrust of the quarterback. Like, it's a weird dynamic there. You've got a receiver that everybody loves already there, and now a second receiver that everybody likes the talent, but a quarterback that nobody likes. So how's that going to play out? I know that you're high on Trevor Lawrence. Maybe I'm giving away some info here on a player who hasn't been picked yet. But you kind of need to mesh them. Like, Trevor Lawrence should be drafted, if you like Hunter, as a lot of people do. Trevor Lawrence isn't drafted high enough, because if both receivers play anywhere near what they're drafted at, then Lawrence needs to be the guy. So just kind of be consistent with it, and especially in a format like this. Like, if you like one of those receivers or like Hunter, then take Lawrence around earlier than you otherwise would. That's the way I think you got to play this.
Yeah, Eric, what Mark's referring to also is with Trevor Lawrence. I have him as my QB9 or QB10, sorry, in fantasy football for all the reasons that on podcasts we've talked about the system over it. It sure looks like it's going to be similar to what Liam Cohen did in Tampa Bay if you follow the narrative.
Yeah, I like Travis Hunter quite a bit too. I was debating him on my pick, but I kind of just went with, I think, somebody in Jerry Jeudy who I trust a little bit more to get a lot more targets, being the only wide receiver in Cleveland. So I went with him over Hunter, but Hunter was going to be the two I was going between. It's
so easy, right, to say that now, like Jerry Jeudy's going to get all these targets, and then all of a sudden it's like Dylan Gabriel starting week 2, and Travis Hunter is basically, the next Jamar Chase, and you're like, oh my God, what the hell did I do? And then, which was good though, actually, because then do you have mid-season contests at this point, Greg, or is it how does that all work with football?
We don't have them. We used to offer them after week 4, but we don't.
It's a lot to manage.
Yeah,
cool. Well, if for angry drafters after 2 weeks, it might be a good something to consider. But I don't want to add more to your tech plate. I'm sure you got a lot going on there.
Yeah, we got basketball starting at that point, and then baseball's just ending. And of course, baseball, as soon as the season's over, they're drafting right away. So we got our hands full. But second half ones do make sense.
Greg, I just saw Ricky Pearsall went off the board. I think that's a pretty damn good pick. That's a friend of mine, my friend Nick, that jumped in there. He's and then Chris Godwin is a player that I don't have on any of my teams. I'm just too scared of it. Injuries are going to find you. I don't want to find them. That's a quote from our great friend Scott Pianowski. Godwin's just going to keep dropping, Greg, right? That's an easy prediction at this point.
Well, they just announced yesterday that he had that second surgery on his ankle. So that's the scary part, right? We knew he had a brutal ankle injury. They drafted Igbuka, right? Maybe as a replacement or a long-term replacement. But now that you hear he had a second surgery on the ankle, it's got to push his timeline back. So yes, I think he is falling right now for sure.
Yep. All right, guys, let me just it's so funny how the markets go for these onesie positions. There's such a gap between the top and then the next couple tiers that everyone is just waiting it out right now. And by the way, hosting a live stream, some of these guys do it so seamlessly. I'm so happy to have you 3 guys here too, because I'm really trying to draft well, but then I look up and I'm like, oh my God, I only have 15 seconds left. Yeah. It is a skill to draft well and host these things. Not saying I'm still trying to hone it. I'm gonna have to just do more of these drafts.
Well, we'll let you know if you ever acquire that, Alan. But that is why Dalton doesn't come on these, because he gets to sit back and just strategize. So he should definitely be penalized. In fact, with Greg here, Greg, can you please penalize Dalton for not coming on the show? He's a longtime fantasy guy, worked for Yahoo for a bunch of years. He needs to be penalized for not coming on while drafting in our league.
I would, but he's a good baseball customer as well of ours, so I can't touch him right now during the baseball season.
Oh my God! All right, you guys, talk through the Eric. Talk through the Kelsey pick. That was an interesting one that you just made.
Yeah, so I kind of just went with Kelsey over Hawkinson just because I think Kelsey's going to get a little bit more of the touchdowns again this year. Still caught 97 balls last year, so I think he's still going to be – he might not catch 97, but I think in like the 85, 90 range he'll be good for. He's going to add some more touchdowns. And to get a tight end like that, basically 6 rounds after Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, who might kind of put up similar numbers, I think it was good for me.
All right.
Threw a book out there, and then you picked him right away.
Yeah, I mean, I was queuing him up. The problem is, two of the guys I like, and that's the difference between doing best ball and doing managed league, right? Like Ibuka, I was calling people idiots, Greg, for taking him, but it's like all the camp reports on him are just so like, oh, he's ready to play now. And it's obviously that's what they saw as well. And now you're talking about Chris Godwin, who, who's even if he was like participating, like he had a pretty bad injury in week 2. It's probably going to knock out the first month and a half of his season. Yeah. And once the genie's out of the bottle, if Ibuka's good, that's how you win these leagues, right? By like taking those type of swings. The problem is, you take too many of them, and then the real professional players that have been playing NFFC for so long, they take like the Joe Mixons in past years, the James Conner types, the boring Jacoby Myers, and they end up winning the league every year.
Yeah, I mean, Ibuka was so good at Ohio State, though, right? I mean, yeah. I really liked him an awful lot. I was hoping he would drop to the Packers this year, but of course he didn't. But no, absolutely. I mean, you got depth is very, very important here. People don't realize it, but I mean, your 5th wide receiver, he could be starting several games for you during the season, right? You got the flex position, 3 wide receivers. So getting as many wide receivers and running backs as possible is key. And so I think what you're doing is right.
And what I said earlier in the NFFC is something I've learned the hard way multiple years in a row, is that it's a little bit easier, or I'd say there's more access to running backs that can patch you through 3 weeks. Like in years past, when on the Chicago Bears, when David Montgomery went down, Khalil Herbert got you through those 2 weeks. He got like 15, 18 points, that usually doesn't happen on the waiver wire with wide receivers, because if they're coming off a good week, if you get some wide, then you plug them in. It's like, then they get no targets the next week, and it shouldn't shock anybody.
Right.
I'm going to move our
Last year, the wide receivers really got hurt in a way that was really unusual, and the top backs really stayed healthy. Mm-hmm. I don't expect that to happen the same way this year, and that to me is what you're describing here as to why you can usually find running backs to plug holes on waivers over the course of a year if you're active, because there are just more injuries at the position.
That's a really good point, that last year was a very different year. The running backs overall stayed healthy, right? Like the ups. So yeah, I mean, so right now, guys, I'm going to keep the board like this, but I will move it up once our mugs start to cover it, but you could still see the next 2 rounds. By the way, just remember that we're doing this again next Wednesday, everybody. If you're listening to us and you want to participate, I put in the link in the video description below, we're going to have another Beat Allen Seslowsky League at the same time, 1 p.m. next Wednesday, July 30th. You sign up, $350 to get in. And then Greg already talked about the grand prize. There's about $1,500 worth of league prizes plus an overall contest that's worth up to $250,000. Man, that would be so nice to win that one. I think this is my year with Ibuka, Downs, and Odunze. I mean, what could go wrong with that combination right there?
I mean, we'd all love to have $250,000. I should just hold on to it. What the hell am I paying everybody for? So, exactly. I mean, this year we're going to have over $6 million in prizes in football. Wow. We're going to have over $5 million in baseball. So, I mean, this high stakes market is just taking off, right? I mean, we're seeing best ball take off, the lower price entries, but the season-long high stakes is tough to manage, and we're one of the few in the space, right?
How many people have won both football and baseball in the same year? How many times has that happened in your company's history?
In the overall, or
in anything that's if they ever won? Yeah, I would say in the overall.
No,
I don't care about
that. Not in the same year. No.
Okay. What was it? What was the thing I always hear about Lindy? Did Lindy win two?
Lindy Enkelman won in 2009 was the first year we started the online championship in baseball, and we had the main event at that time. And so I thought, to get people to play both formats, the 350 entry and what was it, like 1,500 at that time, I'll give a $75,000 bonus if anybody wins both of the overalls. Okay. Gosh. And the first year we offer it, and of course we had insurance on it. We didn't just do it ourselves. He wins it. So it's called the Lindy because he won both overalls in the same year. And no one's ever done that since. But
so if he wins it 3 times, it's like back to school. He'd be the triple Lindy.
Yeah, and so I had to go back to the insurance company then because I wanted to do it in next year as well. And they're like, "What the hell? I thought this was going to be hard, And,
well, it came in, right?
It's like I crashed my new car the first time, but the insurance company kept me because they knew I wasn't going to do it every time. So,
oh my God! So taking a look at the board, guys, Eric. Other than your own team, we know you love your team. What team stands out as at least having a good structure? Because again, we could debate the players till we're blue in the face. And you can't pick team 4 because that's literally the worst structure I've ever seen on any team in the NFFC.
Yeah, team 4 is auto picking a lot. Yeah, just kind of looking at some of the teams. I like team 6 quite a bit with Lamb, JSN. We talked about Rashee Rice, but he still has Devontae and Myers. I think Jones should be pretty good. Bowers, number 1 tight end. Just got to keep hitting on those running backs a little bit. That one definitely sticks out.
Yeah, that's a nice build, team 6, no doubt about it. I mean, again, you talked about team 11 with the hero running back. I do like the way he went with the 4 wide receivers there. Caleb Johnson, again, in round 6, those running backs are available that really could put up some numbers, whether it's Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift. So I like that build of the hero running back.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like, you remember years ago, Greg, it was like, you just have to get those 3 receivers that are plug and play. And the hero running back, it's like, yeah, I almost get like, don't want to do it. I'm resistant because there's so much content about it, but it is popular for a reason because it does. It's just like we said, it's easier to get 1 running back off the waiver wire or pick a sleeper. It's not easy to get 2. That's why, so. Because everyone's so competitive for these things. Let me ask you this. You guys have a minimum of $1 bids, right? And you never have free pickups. Now, I think I understand why, but I've been asked that question. Why doesn't the NFC have first come, first serve or $0 bidding? What's the fairness reason?
Well, certainly not first come, first served. I mean, that's with this high stakes, it would be the guy who's a CEO of a company and who wants to compete. He's too busy to be first come, first serve. So we'll never do that. The reason we don't, because managing fab is a skill, right? And we know of some players who go all in on a certain players, and if they had 0 bids, they'd still be able to pick up. So manager $1,000 over 14 weeks or get out, because I mean, really, we're not trying to make this easy for you. There's people that would say, like in baseball, we have no injured reserve spots. We don't have injured reserve spots here, but in baseball we don't. And people are like, why don't you have a couple of them? There's so many injuries. Why? Because we want to make it tough. You make tough decisions. Are you going to hang on to that guy who's on the 60-day DL or the 15-day DL? That's up to you, not me. So we're trying to make it hard, to be truthful.
Yeah, no, I like that. This is not your home league, right? No. This is for real money. This is I totally like that. And by the way, we got about 430 people that tuned in during 1 o'clock. Get back to work, you people. What the hell are you doing watching a draft, you bums?
No, I'm Lee Elia. I'm like, hey.
It's so crazy. See, this is the other thing. Stope, I'll ask you this. I watch all these drafts that the NFFC and Greg do and they put on, and I don't even know why. I'm watching them like they're my favorite Netflix show. I don't even have a vested interest in some of these drafts, but I cannot. I love watching people draft and talk over. What do you think that is? Why do you think that's become so popular?
The drafting, for me, the drafting process educates me to prepare for the coming season. Watching others draft, and especially drafting myself, it's a great way to just prepare and learn, because it forces you to learn the player pool when you're on the clock and going, who do I really want to pick with my money on the line? And so that's where I love it. It gets the juices flowing. It helps you prepare for the season. It makes you realize, hey, football's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you hear this. I mean, you said it earlier, Greg, right? Like this is the new content because this is like actual actionable stuff here. But do you find yourself just watching these drafts too? Even I know it's your company, your business, you want to see how they go. You want to see how the content creators are presenting your product. But other than that, I mean, this is like, I cancel Netflix during the draft season. Seriously, I mean, my wife's always like, "What the hell are you watching a draft for on your phone while she's watching, Love Island or something?"
Well, I'll just say, I mean, I go back a long ways, right? And so the magazines, when they would come out, and you'd see the cheat sheets in there, or there were some experts drafts in the magazines. Everybody had to have it because they wanted to see what that guy did. Then all of a sudden, Mock Draft Central came together. I mean, maybe Mark's old enough to remember that, but Mock Draft Central was like revolutionary because they were producing ADPs every day. Unfortunately, people would get out after 3 rounds or whatever. They just wanted to see the early rounds, so the ADPs really didn't add up. Now it's the actual drafts, the live streams. This is the new content. I mean, our ADPs are certainly very valuable to people, and people talk about them on the radio and podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And so we've progressed from the ADPs to the live streams. And I think, again, this industry continues to evolve, and we're helping it evolve, I think, with these.
Oh, totally. It's what the cool part about the NFFC, it's art. Here, I'm going to move the screen up a little bit, guys, so we can see. So, there's a lot of options out there to play high stakes, and I always play on the NFFC. Well, again, full disclosure, we're partners with Greg. We do some promotion for each other, but I was Greg knows this. I was a fan of the NFFC before I was a client. Obviously, not the same for the Hair Club for men, right? But it's like the game. You guys have it tuned in perfectly, and I've made suggestions to you earlier on, and you're like, yeah, we've heard that before, like Superflex, all these other like formats, these sort of gimmicky formats. Again, they're fun to play in your home league, but when you're talking about money on the line, serious players, let's get down to like what this is: single quarterback, the 3rd round reversal, the large rosters, no trading. I just think you guys have this really dialed in, and the best part is there's no nonsense with getting paid. So you get paid. Yeah. I mean, it's like the week after everything's. How long do you take to finalize once the payouts go?
No, we actually have to wait for Elias scoring changes on Wednesday night is the last night they make it. So then we pay people on Thursday, but we pay them sooner. But we need to make sure the official scores are correct. So we actually wait for Elias, but. Everybody, if the season ends on Monday, they get paid on Thursday.
It's amazing.
We should be clear, though, and not mislead the audience. Alan, you don't get paid.
Actually, for my first few years in NFFC, I did really well. I won like 4 in a row, like league prizes, not overall. I never placed in the overall, but I'm getting worse as I go on, but no, I think I'm regressing to the mean. I'm ready to go. This is.
I know why you won early on, because when you did join, you always joined the Beat Chris leagues. That's why.
Yeah, it's like playing in pre-K. Yeah.
No, you did. You always joined with Chris. You loved to go against Chris. And,
I did. I love talking about it on the air, and that's another thing. We're going to be talking about this draft on Sunday on SiriusXM. If you do have satellite radio, we're gonna. And by the way, I'm not nice to the drafters. Even if I like your draft, we think it's better radio to crap on the draft. So just so you know, Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be on with Mario Puig. We're going to be going over this draft and talking about it. So if you want to hear more about this draft, you can check out then. Just going back to this round right here, Eric, you took Tajay Spears. I was considering him. Spears finished the season last year like on fire. And I know it's not going to that's not the pace, but man, Spears in round 10. This seems like another one of those mispriced players that if you go heavy wide receiver, it's an easy click, right?
Yeah, I actually moved him up this morning before we started the draft on my own rankings. So I moved him up and got him in the range where I was expecting him. So that was good for me. And there's, they're already talking about him getting the ball more. He finished the season really, really well last year. He's just got to stay healthy. So I think if he stays healthy on a team that's probably going to have to throw a little bit, I think in a PPR league, that's going to be good for him.
Yeah, I like Spears over Trey Benson. I was forced into Benson as a handcuff for Connor, who's already a little fragile. So, again, those are the structural decisions that have major consequences. If Benson goes out there and has 6 carries in week 1 and Spears has 80 yards, 4 receptions, and another 20 yards, I'm going to throw up in my mouth. So, Greg, anything stood out here since round like 8, 9, and 10? Or is this like Trey Harris, for example, right? He's been a guy rising since he signed his contract. Yeah. Mike Williams, he goes on, it retires. Right. So is Trey Harris, you see another one of those guys that can move up a round or two? Or does this feel like
I was on the RotoWire show on Monday, and I pointed out that Trey Harris's ADP was 138, and he went 99th the night before. So again, what do you go here? 8 to 29, right around 100 or so. So he's gone up. Quentin Johnston is also moving on up because of the Mike Williams thing.
And he's had a couple highlights on Twitter that look good. I have a request. Here's a tech request, Greg. And then tell me why you're not going to do this, all right? So this is something. So on the thing, like when I click like Trey Benson, let's just say he's the 37th running back. Right. Is it easy to implement on the sticker or even in the post thing once this draft finalizes what number running back they are? So it's easy for me.
That is one thing we don't have on here, and I know other boards do. So I could talk to our IT about that. We got there's not a whole lot of room on here. We've got the bye week on there, right? But I have seen I do believe RT Sports has it that way too.
Yeah, I don't look at other ones. I'm an NFFC guy. Screw all the others. That's how you can't say it, Greg. I can say it.
You can say it, but no, I mean, there's always ways we can improve it for sure. I mean,
no, it's not improve. It's just, again, that nobody cares about that besides content people.
Yeah.
Right. So again, and that's such a small amount of people. And I figured if I asked you on here, I can shame you into it.
I can ask every question. I know we have talked about it, and they're like, there's only so much room. Like Ramondre Stevenson. All right, there he is. Where are we putting RB 37 on there? Or
right.
So
cool. All right, Stopa. The rookie tight ends. I know you took Dalton Kincaid, who's had a down couple years. That feels like a little ahead of the ADP right there. Did you you pushed him up a couple spots?
Little bit, because I have Allen and I got a Bill stack going. It feels like that gives me some upside. So I do think Kincaid can bounce back in his third year. I do not like the rookie tight ends. That is over time that has proven to not be a winning formula. So I generally steer clear there.
Yeah, no, you're right. It has been terrible with Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta the year before. That was horrible.
Those are anomalies, as you know.
I know. I just any opportunity to throw a left jab.
No, he's got a Bill stack there, right? He's got Allen, Cook, and Kincaid. Where was he going last year, right? With tight end 3 or whatever, right? So he had injuries last year. I think Kincaid's got a chance to really bounce back for sure.
Yeah, I'm at Kincaid's price. That's like an easy click for me. I love that pick, actually. That's why I was goofing on him. All right, Eric, you're coming up here. Talk us through it. You got a minute, so just talk it out loud.
Yeah, so I still want to fill in some more running backs. I only got 3 so far. And the one that I am going to click on is Austin Eckler because I do have Jaden Daniels. So it kind of gives me a little bit of a stack in case I need to use him at some point during the year. And if Brian Robinson goes down, we've seen Eckler be a workhorse before. I'm not really expecting him to at this age, but if he has to, I think he can for a month or so if Brian Robinson misses. So I'm going to take Eckler to pair with Jaden Daniels.
Yep, that's a good one.
And Terry McLaurin. So you guys got 2 different stacks. Alan, I'll let you concentrate here, and I'm going to ask Mark. Jaden Blue, I was in an auction league, and I grabbed him myself. Then you hear these reports that he's been lazy, which who is that coming from, right? I'm sure it's just motivation. But, man, Jaden Blue was fun to watch at Texas last year. What are your thoughts with him?
I mean, everything out of Dallas is like insane. There's some crazy report. Like you can't go more than 2 or 3 days without some crazy story there. So I actually saw those reports about the laziness and thought, gosh, that's sure going to motivate him. But more from a standpoint in terms of why I took him, like it's not like they have an established guy. No. Most of the backs that are being taken here are pretty clear handcuffs, clear backups, whereas he could actually, be the starter and be a 1,000-yard guy for all we know. So I like in this format, I like trying to target upside picks in these types of rounds, and I felt like he was that there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
All right, guys. Bashal Tutin was someone I was taking early on in like round 8. I really do like the whole Jaguars narrative around him, but I know that he didn't have a great start to his rookie camp with the fumble on the first carry. But man, he was one of the reasons that this coaching staff got the job, right? Like they touted him as somebody they were going to get. And my QB6 guys, I know you don't have to take him at QB6, but Justin Fields, like I didn't want to chance it and like wait another round here. So I'm just going to take him here. He's my QB6. He was QB6 last year, guys, when he started, right? I mean, he was literally already at that ranking. And now he's presumably in a safer spot, meaning the benching risk is way lower than it was last year, given that it's Tyrod Taylor and that Aaron Glenn, the Jets head coach, proactively wanted. He brought Aaron Rodgers in just to fire him, right? So
he was the best player on the board there by a lot. He was at the top of my queue, even though I already have Allen. That he lasted further than he should have. He was your best pick so far.
Okay, cool. I agree. And by the way, Broncos defense just went at pick 2. I was hoping to get them in the next round. They have the best week 1 and week 2 matchups for a good defense. So if you're going to play streamer, I think they play Tennessee and Indy. Is that right? Does that sound about right? You could double check me on that. But I think that those are matchups you want the rookie quarterback and then Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, if those are the two teams that are playing.
Yeah, and I think you can keep them in your lineup for quite a while too. I mean, you don't have to stream that defense. They're going to be pretty good this year.
Right. I mean, you probably have to take them out against KC, but like maybe not, right? Sometimes maybe not.
Sometimes you're taking a defense here. You're not taking them because of who they play in week 1 or 2. You're taking them because you intend to start them just about the entire year.
Correct. Right. Like, but if the other like that's the two strategy, right? Like Brandon Aubrey went already. By the way, one of the best rule changes in NFFC history was changing it to team kicker.
Yeah. Well, blame the pandemic on that because
it was before that. There was all those.
No, we actually did it during the pandemic. It was like, you know what, your kicker could get COVID, and now all of a sudden you don't have anybody, and the waiver wires are done, and that's not fair. And so we did that, and it was like everyone was like, "Yeah, that makes sense. You should keep it." And so after that first year, it was like, no doubt. For one thing, it's one less roster spot you have to worry about because a lot of people did have backup kickers, and we don't need that with only 20-man rosters.
Yeah. Was there ever any pressure? Because I know, like in traditional like home leagues, that there's always pressure to get rid of kicker and defense. Did you guys ever get that blowback, and did you just like shoo it away?
I can't stand people in the industry who do that. And I mean, SiriusXM's got 2 guys that continually no kicker this and no. What the hell? I mean, come on. I mean, what are we doing?
I have a strong take on this.
All right, let's hear it.
Fantasy season is in NFL is pretty short. There's only so many games and there's only so many roster spots. So why are we going to make our starting lineups even smaller when we have the option to make them be bigger? I would rather have leagues start 2 kickers and 2 defenses than start none. So I just don't see eliminating those at all.
And I mean the talk is okay. Let's change the kicker out and put a flex in. Well, then go ahead, do that. But I mean the kickers are important, and listen, what is Dallas's kicker right now worth? He's worth an 11th round pick maybe because he can kick a 63-yarder in our scoring system. That's 6.3 points. So I get it. I get it. It's luck kind of on the kickers and the defense, but it's an integral part of our game where we'll never get rid of that. So.
Yeah, you see, gross, get rid of the kicker. Yeah, no, I understand that. In your see, the reason I didn't like having a kicker in defense, like in our when we play like a lot of dynasty leagues and we have like a major portfolio, is because who the hell wants to grind that through 40 leagues? But like when you're playing in a serious contest for $300+ $350, like let's do this all legitimate, right? Like, and the other thing is like get rid of the tight end. You've heard that was like obviously laughable, right? Tight end. I think tight end strategy is a big piece of what the NFFC and these high stakes contests are. Are you going to go for a premium? Are you going to, backload it? So I don't like anything that takes out strategy, guys.
It still is a strategy on when you're going to pick that kicker or defense. A lot of people will wait to their last pick. Go ahead, but again, team 2 thinks he's got an edge here. I mean, it's the same complaints of let's get rid of that second catcher in baseball. That second catcher is so hard to find a good. Well, again, there's strategy on when you take that second catcher. So no, I'm not. We'll never be a non-kicker or non-defense.
No, nor should you. You would get for whatever perceived benefit there was. Your leagues, your company is built on serious fantasy football players and people that play for real money in a high stakes contest. They like that. They want that. So, what are some of the other cockamamie requests as we're getting through the draft here that you've heard over the year? You just name one that like you were just like, you've maybe heard it a couple times, but you're like, this is like the craziest thing. There's no way we're doing this.
No, like you said, I mean, a lot of the changes we've made come from our customers. I mean, I've really listened to our guys. And so 3rd round reversal came from our guys. The Cutline Championship, that format came from our guys. All of it.
What's the most popular format right now? Is it the traditional like RotoWire online style, even if it's not our contest?
Yeah, no, it is. It's the $350 format, no doubt. We'll do 4,800 teams. There's other companies who have copied the $350 price point, and I think I added up between all of the companies doing it at that price point. There's like 26,000 teams. Wow. So I mean, that is by far the most popular now. Best ball is taking off. Obviously with Underdog and DraftKings and all that kind of stuff. So in our industry, probably best ball is, but I think for the serious player, that $350 price point is a beautiful price point. Yeah. I'll just tell a story. I mean, I used to work with NBC Sports. They were a partner of ours in 2008. Rick Cordella, who's now the president of NBC Sports. I met with them, and I was working with Roto World, and we weren't getting any new customers for our main event, right? It was like a $1,500 price point, and they got free content over there. And I'm thinking, that's a pretty big leap for a customer to go from free to $1,500. So why don't we do a midpoint? And so I said to them, I think we should do a 350 league. And I remember the first question is, why do you think that's the right price point? We just knew through the years that 250 was affordable and 500 was too much, right? So I thought 350 was a good price point, and it didn't take long for everyone to copy us, but we were the first ones in the 350 space.
Yeah, you guys were the first ones to do a lot of things. I mean, even best ball, right? Like going back to those MFL 10s, which you guys acquired, and best ball 10s, whatever they're called now. I still play on them. They're still pretty popular over there. I would love to see people check those out. You know what? Here's a free plug for those. And that if you like playing best ball and you've tried the other traditional ones or the other ones like Underdog and DraftKings, check out Best Ball 10s, which is owned by your company still here. But it is a cool format. It's similar to this, but it's a good way to get reps for this contest, even like with the software. So
hey, absolutely. I mean, Mike Hall, give him credit. The MFL 10s, $10 to win $100 was a great format.
Yep. It seems like I remember back in the day, I would do like 15, 20, 30 drafts. People thought I was sick. Now they think I'm like, I barely play.
Right.
Right. Hey, Eric. Yeah. You took the Ravens there, Eric. What was the thought process?
I got sniped and I was scrambling to figure out who I was gonna take. So
would you get sniped on who?
I was hoping Rashad Bateman was gonna come to me.
Okay.
And I didn't really like any of the other receivers left after that. So.
All right, guys, I'm taking Roschon Johnson here. Again, not like my favorite player, but can he be a poor man's David Montgomery? I think that's, just trying to stack the running back room a little bit here. And then Stopa, you took Eagles there. You just like the defense? I think who do they play? Dallas in week 1, or who do they have in week 1?
Yeah, Dallas.
I honestly don't know. I like in a format like this getting a defense that I can play most weeks, because otherwise you wind up really spending a lot, especially in the dollar where you have to pay. You wind up spending a lot of time and energy and fab on the defenses during the league, which I prefer not to have to do.
Yeah.
Probably 2 rounds too early, but I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence here, guys. Just so, again, I just... even though this is a 1 quarterback league, it really is a 2 quarterback league in a sense. Like where I think if you look at like all the teams, they take on an average of 1.5 quarterbacks, which makes it a 2 quarterback league. There'll be a couple guys on waivers, Cam Ward, Bryce Young, but I just have this Jaguars. Like I'm buying into like the whole Liam Cohen thing. And if Trevor Lawrence comes out and has like 27 fantasy points in week 1, I just want to have him on my roster just in case, especially if Justin Fields gets hurt. I don't want to have to be starting Cam Ward or Geno Smith. I just want to. So that's the thought process here versus, just another running back that I'm going to have to wait 3-4 weeks to see if they pop anyway. So, and if you look, it's you took Drake May, who's another one of those guys, right, Eric? That's upside here, and then CJ Stroud, who was 5th rounder last year. So this seems like that little bit of an area where the upside guys that aren't getting drafted in single QB.
Yeah, I think you started the backup quarterback run here, so I'm sure a couple more will go.
Actually, I'm going to give credit to Team 4, who started it in round 4 with round 3 with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
No, I mean, the round before you got McCarthy and Purdy are back up there, but that makes a lot of sense there. Upside on both of those guys as well. So,
Greg, where are you at on Trevor Lawrence? I told you I have Lawrence as my QB 10, Fields is my 6. I haven't met. I've a couple people are bullish on the Jaguars offense. Like, why can't this be Tampa from last year?
I'm not bullish on them just because I've been watching them too much, and I've been watching Lawrence too much, and I'm just not impressed. Now, coaching changes can make a big difference, right? And I think that's what everybody is saying is he's going to bring in that better offense, and Lawrence will get rid of the ball quicker. He's got the wideouts. I mean, he looked good against the Packers last year, but I just am not sold yet. You got to prove it to me, I think, with Jacksonville.
Yeah. And again, it's the easy comparison is Liam Cohen taking over as in either you believe in that system or you don't. Everyone loves Brian Thomas Jr. He's a 1st-round pick, and Travis Hunter was the 2nd overall pick. Plus, they paid extra draft capital. It doesn't seem like you do that unless the guy's going to get play some offense. A lot of easy, narrative comparisons between taking Bucky Irving, Tampa did last year, and them taking Bashal Tutin in the 4th round here. That could be this year's Bucky Irving, right?
Yeah.
Nobody likes Travis Etienne this year, as evident by his 7th or 8th round ADP. That feels like Rashad White from last year. And then, of course, Bigsby and Sean Tucker. So maybe I've talked myself into it. Maybe it's because I live in Jacksonville. No, I feel strongly about Lawrence as a player that really does have that top 10 upside.
I mean, I'm looking where Love is going here, and I'm shocked that he fell that low. I mean,
I
this offense is going to be way better this year, and I think they are going to run or pass the ball more than people think. They're going to spread it around. So I'm surprised. I would not take – I don't know. In this round, I would have taken Love myself.
I thought about it. But you know what? I've taken Lawrence in a lot of drafts, so I was going to mix it up. But I don't want that to be the reason in a high stakes publicized draft that I pivot off of him. Jordan Love, I think that the idea is that he missed 2 games last year, maybe a half of another, and he ended up as QB. On PPG is QB 13, which is way lower than people thought. So, last
year played hurt a lot last
year. Oh,
year.
yeah, absolutely. Right from game 1, right? I mean,
exactly.
Looked like he was going to be out the whole year, and then he did hurt his groin against Jacksonville. And so he was never 100%. And that passing game was no good in the second half of the season. LaFleur did not game plan for Jaden Reed. There was no jet sweeps, no nothing. It was totally frustrating. And I just think I think he's going to be a hell of a bargain this year in fantasy if you got him as a QB too.
Yeah,
I like that call.
The problem is if you get him as you have Goff, that team has Goff and Jordan Love. So now here's every week you're having to make a decision, right? That's the bad part of it. I guess you can play the matchups, right? But early on, we think one matchup is good, the other one's bad. It ends up being the opposite way. And I guess that's the advantage, right, Stopa, of taking an elite quarterback, a Josh Allen. You're never even making that decision at quarterback.
And I've only taken one quarterback, so you can really load up on the other positions later when you do it that way. So that tends to be my preference. But, everybody's going to have a weak spot somewhere.
Except for my team, which is a monster top to bottom.
Well, Goff and Love go against each other in week 1, so we'll see who he decides to start.
So Greg, who would you start right there? Again, just obviously a lot's going to change, but who you're just flipping a coin basically.
Well, I mean, it's going to be at Lambeau Field, and the Lions defense banged up last year, and they're already getting banged up in training camp right now. So honestly, I'd probably start Love at this point. We'll see.
There you go. So, Greg, I guess you're having a good time. You planned on staying for 10 minutes, and now you're here. It's an hour and 6 minutes later. We're honored to have you, obviously. But it's. Do you think these? I think these streams generally are better. Again, I like podcasts 1-on-1. I hate 3-person podcasts, but I think live streams are good when you have players in them. Obviously, you're always a welcome addition. These are fun, and I think even for your home leagues, right? Whether you play on the NFFC or not, this is a good practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will split after this. And I thank you for having me, but I got to run up. I'm at my cottage right now. I got to run home to cut my lawn pretty soon. So
can we get content of Greg cutting the lawn? Is that possible?
I'm on my John Deere with a beer in hand. How's that? So, but no, this is a lot of fun. And I agree. When I've been doing the live streams, we always have one guy on, and I always ask the drafters, could you just jump in with us? And we always get 1 or 2. I'm telling you what, when you got 3 or 4 guys talking through a draft like this, it just flies by and it's easy. And you guys are doing a great job drafting and talking, but it helps that there's multiple guys here to take the load off you guys.
Yeah. No, I've podcasted with these guys before, so we it's like completing each other's sentences. Dan's partners, and Greg, you and I, we always vibe, so it's fun like that. Yeah, guys, this is the RotoWire online champ. Give one more plug before how people could sign up, Greg, for this exact contest before you go.
Yeah, it's playnffc.com. It's the RotoWire Online Championship. Look for that. We got drafts every day at 8 Eastern, 10 Eastern, 11:55 Eastern, and we got some matinees now at 1 o'clock. I'll come back next Wednesday at 1 o'clock when we got another beat Alan Seslowsky. But playnffc.com. All right?
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. Talk to you later.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Stopa, I'm going to break your heart here. I think I'm going to take Josh Palmer. Just why not him? Why is he the guy that's going last out of all these guys? Do you agree, though, that any of these guys could end up being the best receiver?
The way that you said that, I absolutely agree. And Palmer was in my queue, that he could be the best guy. Embrace the uncertainty for the upside. So unequivocally, I like that pick a lot because he might be the best. It's not like they have a dominant guy there already. And now that he's with Allen, who knows? So definitely he's the guy who I own the most of in my best balls and stuff, given where he is at ADP.
All right. I like it. All right, guys, I am thinking through this other pick here. You know what? It is a challenge. By the way, have you found it challenging to draft and talk, or not really? You guys are feeling. You look like you're relaxed because I'm a little bit shaky with the picks right now. I'm sometimes panicking. Was he already 15 seconds left? And I'm like, oh, all right, talk through it about that process.
I find it easier because I have 3 monitors, so I can throw my rankings up on one. I can throw the draft board up on the other. So I find it easier for me personally, just doing it that way. I think if I had it all on one screen, I'd probably be scrambling a little bit.
I don't have it on one screen. I feel responsible and, an obligation to Greg to do a good podcast. And obviously I want to be a good host to you guys and the audience.
And you're being great, and you're being great for the league mates who get a reward by beating you. So it works for everybody.
My other pick, by the way, was Jaceki.
He was in my queue as well. Totally
he's more or less the wide receiver 3 there, right? The third most likely. I guess if you count Chase Brown, not really, but.
Well, and the thing I like about Jaceki too is if one of the wideouts gets injured, he could be the de facto wide receiver 2. They just extended him and gave him pretty decent money in the offseason. Burrow went to bat for him. He's a guy who I definitely think is underdrafted at his ADP.
Eric, you are up here. Oh, DJ Giddens. Okay, that's good. I was thinking about him too. Do you think that he's when the season starts, he's the number 2 running back behind Taylor?
Yeah, I think so. He's way more talented than Khalil Herbert is, in my opinion, and just that speed that he has, man. He was one of my favorite draft prospects, was DJ Giddens. And run first offense, whether Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones is in there, they're going to be run first. And if Taylor goes down, which he has at a couple points the last couple years, I think Giddens can come in for a month or so and be top 20 running back for us in fantasy. So that's why I take him.
Stelpa, what were you doing with this pick? Talk through that last one.
Anthony Richardson. The upside there is just unbelievable. Are you trying to win $250,000? Take a swing. Did I take him earlier than anybody else does? Yes, but I can guarantee you that Dalton Del Don was looking at Richardson. I know how he thinks. He took Will Shipley a round or 2 ago. Similar mindset. You want somebody who can win you, who could in these later rounds, who could potentially win you a lot of money. Last year, where was Richardson getting taken? What has changed? There's some downside concerns, but the upside remains the same. If he somehow plays 14 or 15 games and he runs like he always has, it's a ridiculous value at this stage.
Right. And he doesn't even need to play. If he plays 9 games and the games he starts, he's going to be a top 7, top 9 projected quarterback.
I'm going to go even further. And in best ball, I am shocked to see his ADP in best ball. I think it's the biggest mistake that I've seen in years of playing fantasy, that somebody with his upside in best ball goes in the mid to late 20s among the quarterbacks. Like, it's just totally nonsensical to me. I own him on a ton of teams all over the summer. I just think that the industry has collectively made a mistake by drafting him essentially at his floor and not recognizing his ceiling. In these formats that reward a ceiling player.
Eric, don't you think the reason is in best ball that happens is most likely because you can't drop him and pick up someone else if he ends up being a dead pick, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably what happens in most of those. Yeah, I agree with that.
But Stope is right, though. It's like, who cares if I, win my small league prize in that? Mm-hmm. Like, you really do. Best ball in those big contests really is. You should have the mindset that Mark's talking about. That is the correct way. But I'm just trying to explain off why they don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's like in rookie drafts, why did I take Jalen Milroe in the second round, high second round? It's the upside every single time. So same thing.
Yeah, I forgot about Milroe. Yeah. We haven't talked about Milroe since rookie season, Eric.
Right.
Like, he's not even a redraft consideration.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, guys. Sound off in the comments, by the way, who has the best team other than me, I meant, not what do you guys think happened with Team 4? You think that they just forgot to show up, or because even if you just left it by ADP, you would get a more well-structured team than this one.
Yeah, I think it was left by ADP because I think that's why he got Burrow again. I'm not sure why, but
That put the league on a little tilt, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I was still fine with it. Like, I still got my Jaden Daniels, so it didn't really bother me too much.
Right. It was good for you. Right? When you're drafting next to a guy like that, it's good.
Right.
It's when you're drafting down the end of the other side of it.
Ooh, good pick.
You like the Dubs one over, right?
Oh, yeah, especially over Wicks. I would have definitely took Dobbs over Wicks.
I agree.
I'm going to go with an upside pick here that I kind of like. So
I think Wicks has more upside. I think Wicks has more upside than Dobbs.
That's fair. Okay. That's fair, Florida. And I like Eric. You just went for Elijah Arroyo with the news that Noah Fant was released. Do you think Arroyo steps into an immediate role? Is that why you were excited to click that one?
Yeah, I think he's going to be the pass receiving option there. Barner's kind of more of he can kind of do it all. So maybe Barner starts the year, but I think Arroyo is too talented of a receiver to not use at some point. So I'm going to take the upside shot on him.
Stopa, Ollie Gordon was a snipe. I had him in queue. Stopa, talk through that Wicks versus Dobbs thing again. That was interesting to me that you prefer Wicks there while I make my picks.
Everybody loved Wicks a couple seasons ago, a couple off seasons ago, and then last year his statistics in terms of separation and targets were really good. He just had drops. So can he fix that? I don't know, but I feel like if he can fix that, he profiles as a guy with a much bigger upside than Dobbs, who just kind of is what he is. Dobbs is never going to set the world on fire, and it might be that Wicks is a wasted pick, but he's still young. He still has the opportunity to improve. Look at his advanced stats on separation and targets. I mean, he's a target hog whenever he's been in. So I think he has the potential to be the Packers wide receiver one. That wouldn't shock me at all. I own him all over the place. And so I'm targeting the upside there.
Yeah, it's a good case you made. But I think what Eric was saying, and I agreed with him right away, was that Dobbs is the one that you're probably going to feel like. Think about when you're going to use a player like that. It's going to be on a bye week or an injury, and you know that you can throw Dobbs in there and expect 8 to 12 fantasy points. But you're right; you're not going to get 27, which is what Wicks has in his bag, especially if there's an injury. That's a good point by both.
Well, that's a roster building argument, right? At this stage, I'm trying to get guys who could potentially be a starter and every week starter, and not just a bye week fill-in. So do you disagree with that? You think we should be trying to get bye week fill-ins?
No, you're all I'm saying is like bye week fill-in / when things go wrong, when you just need a guy, you're hoping to never start either. But I do what you're saying. You're saying Wicks can end up being a guy like, oh my God, Chris Olave has just been bad because the quarterback play is bad. Now I have Wicks as my wide receiver 3 every week. I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Yeah, or like I just took AJ Dillon, who is basically undrafted across all the best ball stuff that I've seen. And if I had to pick one player who's undrafted who could be the $1 million winner in best ball or in a format like this, then it's him, because what if he's actually the handcuff for Saquon? And what if Saquon, who's a bit older and coming off the huge workload, gets hurt? That Eagles offensive line is awesome. Yep. That's just why Dalton took Shipley. Those are the kind of players who in my view, you want to be filling your last few spots with. Because if I got to cut him, it's no big deal. But if he pans out, then that could be just an absolute home run.
Yeah, those backfields, right, Eric, that we always think, like, we know Will Shipley's the backup. Oh, no, A.J. Dillon. I thought he sucked. I thought he was out of the league. And all of a sudden, like, he's in week 3 while Barkley just is nursing an injury, and he has 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, it's so easy to see. Yeah. It happens all the time in fantasy football, right, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, just before we started this draft today, about half hour, I saw A.J. Dillon got first team reps. Tweet.
There it is.
So, yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep, totally. Have you, again, off topic here because we're talking about the NFFC, but did you hold on to Dillon in your dynasty stuff, both of you guys, or did you see him dropped anywhere? Because I know both of you guys are sicko dynasty guys.
I dropped him last year after he got hurt, and if I picked him up, I picked him up in maybe a couple spots this offseason, but I dropped him after he got hurt.
Stopa with Dillon.
Yeah, I'm looking to go at him. I've been, I got to get more active on that. I've been in kind of seasonal mode. I got to get into dynasty mode. He's a great guy to go stash, because what if he is the backup? Shipley hasn't established anything. If Saquon gets hurt and Dillon is the actual backup, he's running behind the best offensive line in the league. That's what I want.
Yep. That's fair. All right, we're coming up on our last 2-round picks here. Eric, what do you have all your onesies filled? Like, obviously you have quarterback, you have your tight end, You have your kicker defense, so you're just going to pick some upside players here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I got one guy lined up that I absolutely love, so hopefully I can get him here in a couple picks.
Absolutely love. There's okay.
Yes.
I forgot. Yeah, this is where, I mean, these are the ones where you don't want to take like a Tyler Lockett, right? Like a safe guy. You want someone that could really pop well right here. Did you get him? Sean Tucker?
Yeah, Sean Tucker, yeah. So I just go back to Matthew Berry's 25 things he learned at the Combine article, and he talked about, they love Bucky Irving, but they also really, really love Sean Tucker. And I think Tucker can kind of overtake Rachaad White this year. And I think he's, a Bucky and Tucker kind of be like Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw a little bit, Thunder and Lightning a little bit. So that's kind of why I like him a lot. I've been drafting him in Dynasty, redraft. I've got so much exposure to him.
I like it. Yeah, that's a good call. I was thinking about him a couple rounds ago, and I think Greg distracted me. I went somewhere else. Yeah, guys, Arizona Cardinals defense is terrible, but they play the Saints in week 1. I'm going to assume that what's his name? Tyler Shuck is horrible, or Spencer Rattler. So this could be like fumble 6, get 2 of those in week 1. So that's a matchup play there. Again, the matchups are tough in week 1. Like, you took Philly. They're playing Dallas. Everyone likes Dallas's offense. I know what you're saying. It's not about week 1, but if you're going to play the matchups, I think that's the ugly one that you can get in any round.
Oh, it's definitely sharp to be looking at the week 1 schedule as you're picking a defense at this stage, or even a little earlier. I was saying that in terms of, the top 2 or 3 defenses, you're drafting them irrespective of schedule.
All right, guys, last pick for me right here, 20 seconds left. I'm obviously looking running back. This is going to be my first drop, but Elijah Mitchell, what the hell, right? I mean, if he can get 1 start in the first month, it was worth it, a projected start.
Yeah.
Isaiah Davis would have been a good pick, whoever team to, that was a sharp pick right there. Oh, Thornton, that's your guy, Eric, right? Deontay Thornton.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love him in the process, but man, he's just getting a lot of hype. He's pretty much their only good outside receiver because Jacoby Myers will play in the slot a lot. He's better than Trey Tucker. I think Thornton is definitely going to start for them. I don't see how he does it unless, injuries kind of stunt him during the training camp season.
All right, guys, what we'll do is this round will finish up right here. And then what we'll do is let's just do like 2 or 3 minutes post game here of like draft strategy. And by the way, the NFFC RotoWire Online Championship here, guys, you can play it. Go to playnffc.com. We're doing another one of these drafts. If you want to sign up next Wednesday, July 30th, 1 p.m., what you do is just pop into the draft through 350, and we're going to live stream them as well. And if you'll see it right here. So, and I'll put the link in the video description below if you do want to join. Everybody, thanks for staying with us. Like I said, we're going to stay on, just talk about this draft for a couple minutes here. We'll do each team, and you'll give yourself a letter grade. And then from there, we'll wrap it up. And Stopa, thank you for always coming on, man. Appreciate your insights and your reliability. And Eric, you know how I feel about you, man. It's I always appreciate your podcast style, and you're a good drafter as well. So this is a good way to kick off our first NFFC draft of the season. Yeah.
Always fun. Always fun.
Yep. I wish I can call out some of these names. I don't know why people don't want their names. What is that all about, guys? That people don't want their names like on their team? Like we have to have team 1, team 2. Is it because they do multiple drafts and they just don't want people seeing who their guys are on these streams?
Mine says Stopa. I don't get it.
Yeah, mine says my last name on it too. So
no. Look on the board on the screen here. It says team 1, team 2, team 3. See, like I posted.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same board and on my screen, and I have my last name under it. So I don't know why it's showing it.
No.
Under yours.
I didn't explain this well. So on your board, you get to see all the names, but on the I have a different link for when we stream.
Oh, okay.
The Greg asked me not to put the names on here, just like the team names. So that.
I got you. Okay.
You gotcha. So all right, I phrased the question incorrectly. All right, guys, let's do it like this. There we go. Frame yourself properly. You know what? I'll go back to that other layout. Hold on 1 sec. This is a good layout for this.
There you go.
Okay. All right, Stopa, take us through right here. What'd you think? Your team was team 5. You started off with Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, James Cook, Pacheco, 3 receivers in a row right there. Shakir, Diggs, Harris. I won't go through the whole team, but what was your best pick, and what do you think is the pick that you regret the most?
I like, and I haven't seen enough people talk about this, and we didn't mention it on the pod, so I'll talk about it here. I like Pacheco in round 6. For me, he's become an auto pick there. Yeah. He's on one of the best offenses, one of the best teams in the league, obviously. A great offensive line. He was really good until he broke his fibula last year. And I have a very strong opinion about the returning from fibula breaks that I haven't seen enough people talk about, that I've tweeted about a few times. And I think my take here, Alan. It's that it's a very difficult injury to recover from. We've seen a lot of guys struggle to recover from it initially. Tony Pollard, Mark Andrews, there are a couple others, and they struggled to come back. But then once they did, it took several weeks, or sometimes in some cases even an off season. Then they actually did come back to normal. Tank Dell took a while to recover before he got back to normal, and then he got hurt again. So there's a handful of guys like that. I feel like that's where Pacheco is. I feel like everybody's overemphasizing how he played the latter part of last year, coming off of the injury, and is underestimating his upside going forward, especially in a backfield where there just really isn't much competition. So I'll say he was my best. I'll say that he was my best pick.
And who was your worst pick? The pick you regret the most?
In the end, I hit the wrong button. I didn't mean to take Hopkins. So maybe that's an easy one. That's a throwaway. It doesn't really matter. I wish that I had taken Palmer sooner. So maybe one of the guys there. But I'm generally happy with what I did. Make sure you're hitting the right button when you're doing this stuff. So
give yourself a letter grade, A through F.
I'll say B plus. I'm happy with my team. I got a stack out of it that I like on a good team. So let's roll. Let's go.
All right, Eric. Best pick, your pick of regret, and then a letter grade.
Oh, best pick. I think
your team 3, by the way.
Yeah, team 3. I mean, I don't want to just say Gibbs because that's too easy. Man, I really like my Chase Brown pick. I mean, I think he's going to be somebody that they rely on quite a bit. That's a really high-powered offense. His first full season as the running back this year, he had 50-something catches last 53, I believe. So having Gibbs and Chase Brown as my 2 PPR running backs, and if you ever look at outside of like these crazy Barkley and Henry seasons that they've had, like most of the RB1s are these extreme PPR type running backs. So I have 2 chances to maybe get the RB1 in those guys. So I like that quite a bit. Jaden Daniels, I mean, not much to say there about him for quarterback. I'm not worried about the McLaurin holdout. I think they're going to get that done.
So what's your pick of regret if you had to pick one here?
I think maybe...
And it doesn't mean you don't like the pick. It's just like it was an uncomfortable click for you.
I would say maybe J-Mo or Judy. I'd probably say Judy just because of the quarterback uncertainty. Like, I think it's going to be Flacco. It should be Flacco as a Browns fan. Right. If it's Flacco, I love Judy and Njoku this year. Those guys should eat. So I'm hoping that's what the case is going to be, but I could see that one turning into not so good for me.
All right. And give yourself a letter grade, A through F.
Yeah, I'm probably right there with Mark. I'd probably go B plus to B. I'm sure I could have done a little bit better. Like, I didn't take the wide receivers as early as everybody else, but I think I still did pretty decent for my wide receiver core for where I got them.
Yeah, the wide receivers this year are still, but you could see that, like in round 4 through 7, it's never been better, right? Like you feel pretty confident starting Jerry Jeudy if you stack up early, right?
Yeah, and what he's saying about his receivers, like, that's a team building thing in terms of what we were saying early in the podcast about round 1. What spot in the draft order do you want to pick? And then what position are you taking when you're there? You can compare team 3 and team 5 if you're deciding to sign up for this. Like, how do you want a roster build? Do you want to go running back or receiver early? What does your team look like if you go running back early versus receiver early? And that can give you a sense of it. So there are definitely receivers to be had there, but how comfortable do you feel with somebody like, Williams or Judy or Golden looking at his team, or Pittman as potential starters every week? So that's why I personally wanted Jefferson, to try to avoid some of that, but we're all going to have a weak spot somewhere. So where do you want your weak spot to be?
All right, guys, I'm going to do the same exercise. I'm going to do my best and worst pick, and then obviously and then my letter grade. But while I'm doing that, I want you to look at the board in the first 12 or 13 rounds and pick out the best pick, the worst pick, and so just those two. Okay, and then that's how we'll wrap it up. So for me, my favorite pick and my least favorite pick are both Breece Hall. Right, like I love Breece Hall. I feel strongly about him, but it never feels good to take a player a full round, especially in round 2, 3 ahead of ADP. I mean, if I would have had pick 3, I probably would have gotten him, but I just knew he wasn't coming back. I feel strongly about it. And I've learned in these things that just following blindly ADP it's a good thing, but it's also, it can destroy you. I'll have more regret if Hall does well and I didn't have him there. But if I had that, so I do like the Hall pick, even though it's ADP, it's an uncomfortable one. And the same thing with Kittle, right? Like, I mean, it's a half round ahead of ADP, but man, Kittle has got just as good as the worst thing to do is just keep trying to cycle through those tight ends, chasing a touchdown each week. Oh, Hunter Henry scored a touchdown. I got to start him this week. And then he does nothing. Oh, Evan Ingram had a good week. Oh, I'll start him this week. And it does nothing. At least with Kittle, it's set it and forget it. And the upside is as good as any. So that would be, it's uncomfortable, but those two, best and worst pick for different reasons. And then I'll give myself, again, it's tough to do this. I don't want to make excuses, but I'm going to go C+. But there's the teams I hate the most end up doing the best. So we'll see.
I'm going to comment on your roster build too. If you compare team 1, your team, to my team, team 5, the difference becomes it's hard to take a quarterback and a tight end early. You kind of have to choose one or the other. Right. Your team has the tight end early. My team has the quarterback early. So from a roster construction perspective, everybody out there, take a look at the two teams. Which roster construction do you like better? That can help you decide. Do you like the tight end early better or the quarterback early better?
Yeah, I didn't have access to the big 3. So, it was either Jalen Hurts or nothing, right? So that forced my chance to do it. If I wanted if I didn't take Jalen Hurts at my round 3 pick, that would have been the only way to do it. So, and plus my plan is always Fields and Lawrence anyway, one of those two. In this case, I got both. All right, guys. Eric, best pick in the first 10 rounds, 12 rounds, and the worst pick other than your own team.
So I think one of my favorite picks was team 12. At the start of the 7th, got RJ Harvey. I thought that was a really good value compared to Montgomery went ahead of him, Swift, Caleb Johnson went ahead of him. I think I would have probably preferred RJ Harvey with his PPR upside. So I really like that pick.
That's a good call.
Another one too was Kamara in round 5. Same thing, PPR machine probably, and round 5 to get him was nice.
And worst pick?
I mean, obviously,
worst value.
I mean, I would definitely say the guy that took Burrow in round 4 after already having Lamar. I would probably
easy
say
call.
that's easy one. Yeah.
Okay, that's easy. Stopa, you're looking at the board. Who represents one of the best values on the board? And by the way, I told you during the podcast, Jalen Waddle still to me is the best value in all fantasy football this year, in my opinion. So you can't pick your own team because you're team 5, but who's the best value that you see in the first 10 or so rounds?
To me, I'm going to go a little off the board here, outside the box. I'm sure that's shocking for those who know me, but I'm going to say Will Shipley in round 14, team 7. I'm going to emphasize him because to me, he's an upside player he's one injury away from potentially being an incredible value behind the best offensive line in the league. And if you're playing to win $250,000, that's the sort of thing that you're going to need to have happen in order to win. So I like the thought process there. And so I want to emphasize that one as being, that's somebody who I thought he would make in another round. I was targeting him. That's the kind of mentality I think you need to have in those kind of rounds.
Before I ask you your worst pick, real quick, drafter team 11, Billy Wazowski. And first of all, anyone who ends their name in SKY, I obviously like, right? But he said, I don't care. You could say my name. See, this is why I love Billy, right? He's not uptight. He's a serious player. He's in the beat Alan Seslowsky the last few years, just printing money. So I think he thinks this is a soft league. He might be right. Not this year, though. We got good players in it this year. But yeah, I mean, it's he always has the build that I like. And I think that's what you do when you go like at the end of the round, you go anchor running back, and then just smash the receivers. That's exactly, you have to have discipline not to take the quarterback early, and you end up with Dak Prescott in round whatever it is, 9. So all right, Stopa, your worst pick, and then we'll come back to talk about some of these other teams.
I'm not going to limit my worst pick to one. I'm going to say that it's all the guys in the top 5 rounds who are 30 and over. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Kamara. I don't want guys who are old with my early picks. That to me, in the early rounds, you want to avoid landmines because you're not going to win your draft in the first few rounds, but that's where you lose. I'm looking to avoid landmines. The older guys are invariably.
Well, let me ask you. Let me stop you for a second. Let me stop you for 1 second. So, I took Mike Evans in the beginning of the 4th round. And again, I agree. It's like, damn, how many years is he going to get 1,000 yards? It's so funny. Did you see his under-over, Eric, in the books? It's 999.5 in his DraftKings. Yeah. I mean, that's the perfect number, right?
Right.
It's like, do you think he's going to do it again or not? But it's like, yeah, of course I want Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy there. But it's just like, man, Mike Evans is what I've seen. I usually pass on those type of guys for these young upside guys. And then every year, I'm like, oh, I wish I had Evans. Oh, I wish I had Joe Mixon. I passed on him because he's an old guy. So I understand Stopa's perspective. I agree with it. But, man, I get burned by it so often. I try to balance that. And, again, last year Evans was a 5th rounder, not a 4th rounder. So, but go ahead. So old guys in round 4.
That's just the way that I choose to play. I think that it's generally plus EV to fade the old guys, especially when they go early. Like you talked about Waddle, Tyreek Hill went at 3.1.
Yeah,
to me, that's an absolute no-brainer to compare those two. I think Tyreek Hill, he's 30. He showed 8 signs of decline. Like you mentioned, Pianowski, both of our friends. He has a line that I like. When the cheese starts to go bad, it doesn't go good again. That's how I see guys like Tyreek Hill. Even Mike Evans, last year, he needed a gimmick play in the last game of the year to get above 1,000. He started breaking down. He had the hamstring injury, which we hadn't seen over the course of his career in the past. Devontae Adams is 32. The Saints might be a train wreck. I don't want guys who like that. And that's the way I play. And sometimes I'm going to be wrong. Like I've been out on Derrick Henry for most of his career as a result of that mindset. And certainly the last couple of years. But, that's the way I play.
Usually, Eric, that the viewers start to go down as we finish the draft. The viewers went up. They like looking at the complete draft board. So, are you guys good to stay on another 5 or so minutes just to talk through this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eric, you know what? Let's before I ask you your next fantasy football question, I'm a regular listener to your podcast. Why don't you quickly tell everyone either about your podcast or what you have going on so that if they loved listening to you talk about over the NFFC draft, that they could follow along with you?
Yeah, so I host America's Game podcast that is on the South Harmon Fantasy Network. So just search, South Harmon in your podcast feed. Subscribe there. My podcast drops every Thursday morning, so I'll be on there.
Talking NFL football and fantasy and dynasty. All that stuff,
yeah, dynasty mostly, NFL, college a little bit. I'll probably have a college podcast here before the start of the college season here. But yeah, I'm recording that actually after this. So
yep,
looking forward to it.
But you would love his podcast. He does long ones. It's really in the weeds of dynasty, all this kind of stuff that we play in, the 3 flexes.
I'm going to check it out. Look forward to it.
Yeah, America's Game. All right, Stopa, what are you promoting right now?
I'm not promoting anything, man. I'll promote whatever you want to promote. I'm a free agent in fantasy, and I just kind of talk about the things that I want to talk about to try to make my friends see the world how I see it. And that's it.
Yeah. Stopa is a fun follow on any social media platform, specifically X. By the way, I stopped calling it Twitter because when you post podcasts there and they suppress. I found out they suppress the word in the writing Twitter. Right, you have to say X. And they don't suppress it because they're trying to not.
You have cracked Elon Musk's formula, is what you're saying.
I have. And if you mention Elon Musk in a popular way, he boosts it. No, I'm just kidding. That I don't know. All right, guys, couple more fantasy football questions here. Who's a player that you got sniped on or you regret? And for the next draft, whatever it is, you're going to take him around earlier, Eric.
Ooh, so the one that I kind of was mad about is when you took Downs and Ibuka on me, and when I took Kelsey, I'm like, okay, I could have maybe have gotten Downs or Ibuka and then Kelsey on the way back.
Definitely,
I think that was probably my biggest regret there was I didn't get Downs or Ibuka because I was targeting one of them over Golden, even though I really like Golden, but yeah.
Right. And that made me feel a little bit better. But but that's also the hedge on Evans is Ibuka. That's why I took him there, And if things go poorly there, at least I have. If Ibuka could be good on his own, or if either one of the big two fall off or don't play, Ibuka is set up for at least the opportunity to smash. So.
Yeah, and you kind of hedged on your Cardinals backs too. Do you think that that's an upside play to try to win 250,000, or are you more just trying to limit the number of RotoWire subscriptions that have to be handed out because you follow what I'm asking there?
Yeah. So I think there's a handcuff theory that goes get other people's handcuffs, right? So because then you have two starters, so that's the upside play. Whereas it's the cowardly thing to get your own handcuff, right? Especially in the first couple weeks. Connor was James Conner, who I took in round 6, was a little bit of oh my God, he was just the next guy in ADP. I was talking during that. So I didn't like that pick. I just feel like that is, Connor had too much good injury luck last year. I didn't trust my pick there, so I did the cowardly thing. So you're correct where you should be taking other people's handcuffs to win 250. But here, it was just a bad decision that led to another one. So admittedly, that's not the way to play these contests like it would be in a home league.
Okay, I thought that was worth pointing out. And to answer your original question, I thought that Hampton fell to 311. I think that's later than he's going to go in most of these types of leagues or formats. Yes. I arguably could have taken him, and if I didn't have a running back yet, I probably would have taken him over Allen. So if I had he could be a pick of regret, or somebody who he could easily go 6 or 7 picks earlier, and nobody would have batted an eyelash at that. A lot of upside there. Chargers have a good young offensive line. They want to run the ball. He seems like he's the only guy now with Harris's eye injury, so he kind of sticks out to me in the early rounds as somebody who there was value there.
I was hoping. I knew it wouldn't happen. I predicted that Nowak would take him. That's another one of our guys that's always in these drafts. And I was hoping to take him at 311, but he went the pick before. And again, I was shocked that he fell that far. It was, what it was? Well, who was the pick that went a little out of ADP here? What do you think? I guess it was Breece Hall, right? My pick. Is anyone else in the first couple rounds surprise you there? Or the 3? Eric, so when the other 2 quarterbacks went off the board, that was your signal that you're taking Jaden Daniels, right?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping I would get one of the quarterbacks, and then when the first 2 went ahead of me, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to take the third one here because I like having an elite quarterback if I can. And round 3 is a pretty good spot to get one of those guys, because if you just kind of look at how these guys score year to year, I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels has only done it 1 year, but like Allen and Jackson, like they're always like, if you take them in round 3, they're probably worth it at the end of the year. So I think I just take them and be done with it.
Yeah, the other player that my pick of regret was, I like Bashal Tutin. I think I'm happy I took him in round 11, but I was queuing up Braylon Allen there to back up Breece Hall. But for the reason Stopa pointed out earlier was the reason I did not, right? Like I had that mindset. I screwed it up with Benson, but I did not want to do that again. I realized what I had done there. And so when it came around, I was like Braylon Allen, but I was like, I can't back up 2 guys. Now I have 2 dead roster spots, right? So at least I didn't compound that as well. All right, guys. Great job. Mark Stopa. Follow him. What's your X handle, Stopa?
My name, Mark Stopa.
Just one word. Okay, you actually got it. They won't ever try to buy it from you?
Who you think it's in demand?
I get calls on Alan Seslowsky every day.
I'm not Alan Seslowsky, so nobody has tried to buy my Twitter handle.
All right. Eric Vanek, appreciate you. What's your X handle?
At Eric Vanek NFL.
Okay, it's NFL. There's no underscores or hyphens or M dashes.
No, I didn't go that route.
All right, guys. All right, we'll see you next. Remember, if you want to get in one of these drafts next Wednesday, play NFFC.com. Go. It's the draft that's July 30th, next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Someone asked for a promo code. Just email Greg at the NFFC support. Usually they'll throw you a promo code here and there if you buy multiple drafts. I think they have discounts as well. All right, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday, same time here with another NFFC RotoWire Online Championship.